Is my mom all settled into our place? Jake questioned, having made the decision to move his mother into our home without even considering my opinion. All the preparations for the move had been thrown onto my shoulders. Yes, she's all settled in. I've just finished sending all my stuff back to my parents' place too, I answered. What? He was clearly taken aback, probably never expecting that I'd move back to my parents' home. After the initial surprise, a snide laugh escaped his nose as he looked down on me. What are you talking about, Ashley? You can't possibly live on your own. Little did Jake know about my determination, how much I've been earning on my own lately. You, spending all day staring at a screen on your phone or computer? You can't possibly manage on your own, Jake sneered. Well, I'd just have to show him, wouldn't I? There's no way I'm turning to him for help anymore. I'll prove that I can survive on my own. My name is Ashley, and I'm 46 years old. I've been married for about 20 years. There are no children between my husband and me. My husband, Jake, an elite banker, has a penchant for fussing over details, whether it's his personality or his profession. He seems to still adore his 56-year-old mother. My mother-in-law lives alone at her house that is a distance from us. My father-in-law passed away 3 years ago. As an only child, Jake has been repeatedly urged by his mother to show her a grandchild soon. However, there was a reason why we couldn't fulfill her wish. The reason is quite simple. Jake said he didn't want a child, even though he always plays the dutiful son to his mother and says, "Yeah, we should have a child soon." Whenever the subject of children comes up, when it's just the two of us, he changes tone, saying, "I said that in front of Mom, but having children is just a hassle. I don't need that." So here we are at our age, childless. If we decided to have a child now, it would be a high-risk pregnancy. The risks are obvious. So, at some point, we just gave up on having children. Plus, I think somewhere deep down, I didn't want a child with Jake. There were plenty of reasons to feel that way. For instance, when I went to introduce myself before we got married. "Hey, Ashley, I don't think you're a good match for Jake. The banker's wife should be more, this won't last long." She whispered to me so Jake wouldn't hear. But to Jake, she would say sweet words like, "As long as Jake is happy, that's all that matters." It's exhausting dealing with two-faced people like her. It was the same about not having children. "I want to see my grandchild soon. When will you show me?" "I know, Mom. I'm sorry. Ashley says she doesn't want any," Jake would say, blaming it on me. I gradually started to dislike Jake, who put the blame on me when he was the one who said he didn't want children. I don't know if it's because he loves his mother so much, but I wonder if this is what people call a mama's boy. His mother's words are absolute for him, and he won't stand up for his wife, me. "Ashley, why don't you want children?" "She said it's because it seems like a hassle to have them." "Well, you're such a cold person. Jake, are you sure you want to be with this woman?" "It's fine. If I weren't here, Ashley couldn't survive. It can't be helped." "Oh, how kind of you, Jake. Ashley, you need to thank Jake properly." "That's right. Who do you think is supporting you?" Yes, they would laugh at me together. And it wasn't just that. They did the same about my mother. "Ashley is such a terrible person. I bet the person who raised her is even worse." "Yeah, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree." That's absolutely true. Jake is just like his mother. But I couldn't stand them talking ill about my own mother. I should have spoken up at the time, but I was too preoccupied with taking care of my father-in-law. While I was there, I was in charge of caring for him. My father-in-law couldn't do anything on his own. He was suffering from a rare disease where his muscles were gradually stiffening. As a result, my father couldn't manage to eat or eliminate on his own. When I wasn't around, I didn't know if my mother-in-law looked after him or if they had a caretaker visiting. However, knowing my mother-in-law, I bet they had a caretaker. I couldn't imagine her taking care of him herself. If she had a shred of empathy, she wouldn't have left all the care to me alone. Knowing I couldn't voice any objections, Jake started feeding her all sorts of stories about me. I can't stand this anymore. I don't want to continue this marriage. I want to leave. I had every reason to think so. I can't believe I've endured it all until now. Aside from the things I've shared so far, there are so many other things they put me through, all of them unpleasant memories. Even when my father-in-law died, my mother-in-law was laughing and remarked, "Ah, it's finally over. We don't need to waste our money anymore, and I can relax now." Those aren't the words you use for a husband you've spent years with, especially when she hadn't done anything herself. I was the one who was taking care of him, all alone. Her comment about the money not being wasted probably means she had hired a caretaker after all. It was because of her character that I no longer wanted to be called her daughter-in-law. However, Jake recently spoke to me about her. Apparently, she's showing signs of dementia. When I asked to what extent, he said she started to forget things more often. Upon hearing this, I thought it was probably in the early stages of dementia. I suggested that it might be better for her to move into a nursing home, where professionals could care for her. But Jake sighed in annoyance. "Don't you have any empathy? You live in our house, so you can take care of her here. That's all there is to it." What was he even talking about? I was busy too. "All you do every day is housework. If that's the case, you can take care of my mother." "I'm busy too. Besides, after all she's put me through, do you think I want to take care of her?" "You're such an unpleasant woman. Anyway, my mother will live here. This is final. No objections." It was clear that he had no intention of listening to my opinion in the first place. If that's the case, then I had to adapt to the situation. I simply responded, "Understood," and began preparing for my mother-in-law's move. I went back and forth from my mother-in-law's house to our home, using my car. It wasn't a large car, so it took several trips. The distance from her house to ours was an hour's drive, one way. It was exhausting to rush around and pay for gas on my own, but nobody was there to help me, so I did it all by myself. I could have asked for help from a friend, but I thought Jake, with his high pride, would get angry if he found out. I figured he'd find it embarrassing if people knew that he was making his wife do all the preparations for his mother with dementia to move in. So I ruled out the option of asking a friend for help. I suppose I must have been a little out of sorts myself. After a few days of moving my mother-in-law's belongings, I started moving my stuff to my parents' house. They asked what had happened, but I only gave them a brief explanation. My parents consoled me, saying, "You've been through a lot. And you did well." Thanks to my parents' encouragement, I mustered up the courage to go back to our house to finish what was left. My parents told me I didn't have to go back, but I said, "I can't leave things unfinished," and left my parents' house with a smile. When I got home, Jake was already back and was furious to see me coming home at night. "Where have you been? You didn't even prepare dinner." "I'll do it now. It's none of your business where I go." "What kind of talk is that? Who do you think is providing for you?" Jake always gets like this when he's angry. He yells, "Who do you think is providing for you?" as if he thinks that would make me back down. In truth, that was the case in the beginning, so I couldn't say anything against it. But things are different now. Jake doesn't know, but I've been working too. To him, it must just look like I'm staring at my smartphone or computer all day. "So, what do you want to eat?" I asked, ignoring Jake's shouting. This only made him angrier. However, I was no longer willing to cater to his whims. In the past, I would have done anything to appease his anger. I moved as he wanted. I acted as he said. But I was tired of sacrificing for him anymore. "Enough! I can't eat with you. It'll taste terrible. I'll go eat outside." He spat out these words and stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. If this had been me from the past, I would have panicked. I would have run out and cried, looking for him. I knew that's what he wanted, but that wasn't me anymore. I thought, if I don't have to prepare dinner, then that's better. I grabbed my car keys to go get some food, but when I opened the door, Jake was there at the entrance. "Why didn't you come after me?" I sighed deeply, tired of his antics. "You were the one who said that a meal with me would be distasteful. That's why I didn't come after you," I explained, frowning, as if to ask, "Don't you understand?" He blurted out some incomprehensible nonsense about how I would usually chase after him. We went inside the house and Jake was still sulking. It was so childish, not fitting for a 56-year-old man. It was frankly disgusting. When I said nothing, Jake, still in a bad mood, started to talk. "Did you finish moving my mom?" Jake, who had decided on living with his mother without asking me, and had thrown all the preparation onto me. "I'm done! I've just finished sending all my stuff to my parents' house." "What?" He probably didn't think I would actually go back to my parents. He smirked at me, a condescending laugh. "What are you saying? You can't live on your own. You're just staring at your phone or computer all day. You can't survive without me." "No matter what happens, I won't rely on you. I'll prove that I can live on my own. You may not know it, but I can live by myself." "Don't lie! What's the point of telling such an obvious lie?" "Why do you think it's a lie?" Then Jake continued, looking down on me. "Listen, you've only been able to live because of me. If I'm not around, you can't survive a single day, because you can't earn money." I wondered why he thought I couldn't earn money, but I didn't touch on it and said, "Even if I explain it here, you won't believe me, but I'll go back to my parents' house anyway." "If you're going back to your parents' house, we should divorce. Don't cry and come back later. Do whatever you want. I can see you regretting your divorce in less than 3 days and coming back crying." "Fine. That's okay. I've prepared the divorce papers. Please sign here." As Jake signed, sneering with an arrogant smile, I glared at him, grabbed the divorce papers, got in the car, and headed back to my parents' house. Jake seemed surprised that I actually went back to my parents' house. He called me a few times, but I decided to ignore it. However, after about 2 days of silence, since I got back home, the phone calls from Jake started again. I initially did not answer, thinking he might be abusive. But then a voicemail from Jake came in. I decided to listen to it. "Ashley, are you angry? I'll forgive you, so come back." That was it. "I'll forgive you?" He's the one who proposed divorce, and yet he's saying this? If you think about the situation, it's me who should be forgiving Jake, not him. Of course, I would never forgive him. As this unforgiving feeling bubbled up inside me, I decided to answer the next call. However, contrary to this resolution, I didn't hear from Jake for a while. I thought he had given up, but then the phone rang. It was 2 weeks after the day of that voicemail message. "Hello? Ashley?" When I answered the phone, Jake was sobbing. Wondering why a grown man was crying, I remained silent. Then, from behind him, I heard a weird scream. At the same time, Jake yelled, "Stop it, Mom!" From this, I could easily imagine that her dementia situation had escalated beyond Jake's control. "Ashley, it was my fault. Please come back." "I don't know what you're talking about. I left." "That's why you can come back." "I don't want to come back." "Please, I can't handle my dementia-stricken mother and work at the same time. You must be in trouble without my money." "I'm not in trouble, and I absolutely don't want to." "We're a couple, right? Couples help each other." "Yes, they do, but we are strangers now." "What are you talking about? I'm in such trouble." "But when I was miserable, you didn't help me, did you? You were laughing with your mom." "Okay, got it. I'll pay. How much do you want? If you look after my mom, I'll pay. You'll come then, right?" "What do you think I am? Besides, I earn more than you, Jake." "What?" There was a reason why I had never told him. Jake was the type of person who disapproved of me working. It was when I mentioned that I wanted to do a part-time job. "Women should only do housework at home. It's shameful to work outside. People might think I don't earn enough," he raged. So because of Jake's pride, I had to work in secret. I desperately earned money in ways that Jake wouldn't find out. "What job were you doing behind my back?" "Stock trading. A friend taught me. It was a success, and now I've become a professional trader. So don't worry, I can live on my own." "Please come back." "Why don't you take care of your beloved mother yourself? Besides, you're the one who suggested divorce. You actually filed for divorce? You thought I wouldn't? I went to file it right away. If you have something to say, please do it through a lawyer. At my cold words, Jake kept repeating, I didn't really mean to divorce. Please come back. I said I was busy and hung up, then contacted a friend to introduce me to a lawyer. He agreed to represent me right away, and from then on, all communication was done through the lawyer. It took a bit of time, but I managed to finalize the divorce. And this is what I heard from the lawyer. It seems that my mother-in-law's wandering habit has worsened. She often sneaks out in the middle of the night and dines and dashes at convenience stores. She's been banned from countless places. Not only that, but when she's at home, she smears filth on the walls and eats things she definitely shouldn't, causing a big mess. On top of that, because of her shrill screams, complaints and reports from the neighbors never cease, and the police often visit. Despite the situation, Jake didn't resort to day services because of his ridiculous pride, saying, People might think I'm a bad son if I leave my mother to a day service. It's shameful. It's not something a capable man like me should do. It could all be resolved if Ashley just came back. I heard that Jake, who used to rely on me and push everything onto me, is now a complete mess, incomparable to those days. He's thin, with hollow eyes, possibly from lack of sleep, and his appearance has become so ghost-like that it's even a topic of conversation in the neighborhood. When I heard that, I thought, it serves him right, but I didn't say it out loud and just thanked the lawyer. As for me, I've moved to the top floor of a tower apartment with my parents. Jake had always belittled my parents, but now I'm really glad I could live in a nice place with them. Finally free, I'm spending very happy days looking at the beautiful scenery every day.